Welcome to this week's episode of Beyond Focus TV. I'm your host, Lydia Patel, and this week I have another very special guest with me. He goes by the name of Jae Gardner, who's the founder of the Ivykey. He's coming up next. Stay with us because you're watching Beyond Focus TV.
Beyond Focus TV allows you to discuss contemporary topics affecting the Caribbean people on both a national and local level. The show features informed guests who offer insight, debate, and evaluate various issues. Beyond Focus TV builds on the station's mission to provide useful information to the Caribbean people in New York and abroad. Beyond Focus TV, where our viewing audience can get educated, informed, and empowered.
Welcome back. I'm Lydia Patel, and of course you are locked on to Beyond Focus TV for the next half hour. I've got my guest, Jae Gardner, who's the founder of the Ivykey, sitting here with me. We're going to get all the information, all the insights, and how you all could get involved at home. But Jae, welcome to Beyond Focus TV.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So give us all the info. How did this all get started? And for those who don't know, what is the Ivykey?
Surely. Well, the Ivykey, we are a tutoring test prep company here in New York. And I'm originally from New York. I'm born and raised and went to high school in the city. And afterwards, I went to Harvard. And I've been tutoring for over a decade. Really saw education as a right, not a privilege. And for me, I wanted to make sure to share more elite education with students. And I felt as though at the time, especially with the economic milieu, kind of the mid-2000s, kind of late 2000s, that people didn't have a lot of income, but they still wanted to have great educational success, but they just couldn't afford some of your more pricier programs that were out there. And I felt like kind of evening the playing field. So when I started with another Harvard grad, what we wanted to do was really go into the inner city, make sure that we were actually providing elite education, but at a reasonable price. So we started by just going with certain schools in New York, and specifically in the city, School of the Future. Then afterwards, we started working with more schools in Brooklyn and Queens, and just providing them purely with free tutoring. They just didn't know us. There were a couple guys who were out of school, and they were just knew that we were smart, but clearly we didn't have any proven results at the time.
Of course.
So for us, we wanted to go in and really prove our chops, and we worked with a lot of students, and we got them up at least 200 points on their SAT for free. So once the school started seeing that, then things started rolling. They started telling more school administrators. We started working with more students, and it's just been a great success, kind of from day one. And really, truthfully for us, kind of starting in an attic, literally, and then kind of taking and really making the road by walking, so to speak. Going to every school. We've definitely felt we had a great impact so far here in New York.
Well, I want to ask you something funny, because going into the inner cities, sometimes Harvard and some of those Ivy League schools, hence the name the Ivykey.
Yes.
It makes sense. Seems kind of far-fetched. It seems so far from reality, especially being in the inner cities. If you go into that, and you could be in Brownsville, or you could be in East New York, and letting a high school student know that you could end up at Harvard, it's almost like, yeah, okay.
Well, I think it's important to demystify the notion that you have to be, Barack Obama or Bill Gates to get into Harvard. You can certainly become those people once you leave, but by no stretch of the imagination, you have to be that person before you get in. And what we want to do is make sure that students, especially in the inner city, know that it's accessible. A lot of times they don't realize that they have the potential to get there, but because they're not reminded or it's not reinforced, whether in home or at school, a lot of times they let go of those dreams and those ambitions. And what I want to do is to make sure that students knew that you can get to Harvard, you can get to Yale, and you don't have to be the perfect 4.0 student, the perfect, creating the next Twitter or Facebook. We want to make sure that they understand that we've had challenges in our road to getting there, and we want to share those stories so they understand that you can fall and get back up and still be successful. And I think that's important that students understand that from a young age, and that's something that's really ingrained in them.
Now, for yourself, growing up in New York and you ended up at Harvard, can you share a little bit of your story and how you ended up there?
Well, surely. I come from a Caribbean background.
Very nice. So do I.
My mother's Jamaican, my father's Antiguan, and really just instilled in me education from a young age. For instance, I really couldn't even go out and play when I was younger unless I knew my times tables. I knew my whole times tables 1 through 12 by the age of 5, and my father made sure that the only way we're going to progress as a family is through education. And luckily for me, I had great siblings who were attending great schools as well. My brother went to Yale, my sister went to Brown, and they really just kind of set that sort of benchmark of success in my mind, and realized that for me to equal up to my peers and really my siblings, I had to do something of the same fashion. So really going to an Ivy League school wasn't something, as crazy as it may sound, that momentous in my household. It was kind of expected that, you know, you're going to succeed. And in America, that level of success is kind of, some people may say the Ivy Leagues, but, you know, a lot of people feel that way. So that's what
absolutely. And like you said, the benchmark is definitely set quite high. Yeah. What do you have to say for those who think, I want to, but I can't afford it? You're going to come out, and everyone majors in debt, and I'm talking about DEBT. You know, that's what you major in. When you come out of there, you get these great educations. You come out of there, but now you owe $100,000.
Of course.
And you may not even have a job.
Very
and
true.
you may, even if you do get a job, you're getting a job that in no stretch of the imagination could even pay that back right now.
Of course.
Share some insight on that.
Well, I think for a lot of students, you know, what we like to tell a lot of them is about scholarships. You know, there are millions of dollars that go unused in scholarships every year. And it's because a lot of students believe that if I'm not the valedictorian, there's no way I'm going to get that scholarship. And of course, that exists for if you want to get a full ride. But if you can apply to the ones that are $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, it helps defray that cost.
Yes,
especially what I've done when I was applying to school. Just because if you do not do that, I mean, let's be honest, $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, and that price is increasing on a yearly basis, it's going to be very hard for anyone to afford college in the future, and they just don't make good use of the money that's out there that they can't access. Because
there's scholarships, there's grants,
yes.
Different bursaries. There's even things based on different ethnic groups.
Yes.
They put stuff out there.
And there's tons. I mean, I remember one student at Harvard who literally, he was from the South, really had no money, but was extremely smart. And he applied to so many scholarships and got so much scholarship money, they had to give some back. Because
I didn't know they took it back.
Well, that's the thing. He didn't even need it because he had gotten so much money. And the funny thing is that you have this one student who has so much scholarship money that he doesn't have to use all of it, and then other students who are just not applying for it. So it's money that's sitting on the table, and what happens year in and year out that when these students aren't applying for these scholarships, you know, these companies go, well, maybe we shouldn't put out as much the next year, then the next year, and the next year. And you go from having a pool of maybe $100,000 that they had, maybe starting off in the early 2000s, that's now dwindled to $50,000 or $30,000 because students just aren't applying for the scholarships. And it's important that students make good use of these resources just because you really don't have to pay for college as long as you're a decent student who actually has a great personal trait, who's, you know, involved in their community and showcases to a large corporation why, you know, it's a good investment in my education for your company.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
And actually, when you put it like that, you know, you actually do see that there's quite a bit out there that needs to be focused on, and you could actually use those resources. So that's very, very good. But what we're going to do, we've done our very first segment right here. We're going to get on to the second segment. There's a lot of information. Don't go anywhere because you are watching Beyond Focus TV. Jae Gardner, who's the founder of the Ivykey. I love the name, actually. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Keep it right here. It's Beyond Focus TV. Welcome back. I'm your host, Lydia Patel, and you are locked on to Beyond Focus TV. We've got Jae Gardner, who is the founder of the Ivykey, and I always have to say I love that title because it just has so much oomph to it, talking about the Ivykey and getting into all those top schools and the services that are available. So in this next segment, I actually want to talk about really what the foundation of the work is that you all do, from the tutoring services and all that good stuff that's available to everybody here in the city.
Sure. So really at the heart of it, you know, the Ivykey, hence the name, our tutors are Ivy League graduates. We recruit a lot from Harvard just because of my alma mater, but, you know, we have Columbia, especially being here in the city, Cornell, Dartmouth. And for us, it's not just about being tutors, it's about also being mentors. And as I expressed before, it's not just about teaching a student that 2 + 2 = 4. It's how do I apply that in the real world? Because there's a lot of a disconnect, especially in the classroom, where they feel as though, why am I learning this information? How's it going to help me essentially make money, right, in the future or get a proper job? And we like to do is make sure to create that bridge, that link, and they see that with the instructors. So for us, it's not just let's go through your SATs. What type of college are you applying to? You want to help with your specialized high school test? Great, but if you go to Stuyvesant or Bronx Science, I want to know what are you going to be doing your freshman year, your sophomore year, your junior year? How are you going to stand out? And it's important that they receive that mentoring because they need that guidance. Because just getting into these great schools isn't enough. You have to make sure that you're thriving. And that's what really separates us as a tutoring company from other companies. And in terms of our services, we do standardized test prep. So you're looking at your SATs, ACTs, specialized high school tests, boarding school tests, subject tutoring. So you're having trouble with science or math in school, we'll come to you as well. And we have our center in the city at 32nd and Broadway, so people can come there, but we also go to the home because a lot of times we want to minimize excuses from students, right? Oh, it was raining, it was snowing, I couldn't come to you. No, we're coming to you. We want to make sure that you know that for us, it's about making sure that you're getting the education and you're in a very comfortable environment. Most people feel most comfortable, we would believe, at their home, right? We also do admissions consulting as well. So for instance, if you want to apply to boarding school, you want to apply to college, you need help writing your essay, you need help building your resume, we'll go through those things with you and make sure to assist you because it may seem like a daunting task, especially someone who hasn't gone through it, but because so many of us have applied to some of the elite schools, they understand the rigors that it takes into creating that perfect essay, making sure to stand out because nothing's worse than when you have a great student, right? 4.0, great standardized test scores, but they're not telling you a great story about themselves. Right. And without that great story, you're not going to stick to memory. So it's important that we help them really tease and pull out what makes them special so that when someone's reading their application, they're not just looking at Lydia, right? They're looking at Lydia, the journalist.
Of course, and that's always one of the things that I always try to instill in younger people to, one of the things you learn is how to take a big paragraph and condense it into 2 sentences.
Exactly.
How do you just pick out your bullet points? Exactly. Keep it to the facts, how to speed read, and, pull out the 3 most important things, if you could describe yourself in 3 things, or the main point. So it's very, very good that you actually offer that service because a lot of people, for some, that doesn't come naturally to be able to do that, or they just need a little bit of tweaking on that. What are the grade levels that it's open to?
Well, we work with everyone essentially from kindergarten to grad school, right? But the
very wide.
Yes, but the heart of the students that we deal with is usually from 7th grade to 12th grade. Making sure that really those crucial years in junior high school, 7th, 8th grade, what high school am I going to get to, right? So a lot of people right now are preparing for the specialized high school tests to go to Stuyvesant, Bronx Science, Brooklyn Tech, and we help the students with that because right now it's that kind of high school time. And then also for the colleges, making sure for students who are in 11th grade looking at their SATs, probably the most important test anyone will probably say in their academic career. And we work with a lot of schools in that fashion, doing school-based programs where we go to the school and provide these classes on site for the students. So again, they don't have to come to us, we go to them, and we give it at a reduced cost. So again, it's more financially viable for the parents. And again, our large cohorts were your juniors and your seniors in high school who are looking to go on to the next level of academia.
So your team consists of how many people approximately right now?
Right now we have 60 staff members. So we have proctors, instructors, and what I like to do is make sure to diversify, just my staff. That's really important because it's all about making sure that there's a rapport between the instructor and the students. And that might just be I work better with, male instructors versus female instructors. Or I'm an athlete. I want someone who's been an athlete, who's been in that position to help me with these academics because they understand just the life that I live, knowing that I may have to travel a lot and I don't have enough time to study. What are the proper ways of doing that? And that's important for me because once that rapport is built and that student trusts their instructor, then education can flow very freely. But if you don't trust the person who's teaching you, they can tell you how to make $1 million in one day and you won't listen to one thing they're going to say. So it's not just, again, about being an Ivy League grad. It's about being dynamic. And for me, there are many people who've interviewed for us that I just didn't hire just because I felt that they were just kind of very topical. You're very smart, but there's nothing else to you. And I want to make sure that my students understand that being someone who's well-rounded is not just being smart and articulate, but also being dynamic and charismatic. And without that, a lot of times you just kind of get put in the back office.
Now, have you noticed with any of your students, depending on which area you come from, has there been any challenges where there's more of that tension where their parents may have signed them up? Of course, they see that there's a need for some extra help, and the students put up a resistance. How do you break that?
Well, again, it's all about finding out what moves them, right? And you'll see that with students who put that since, oh, I'm not going to go to college, or my mom just had me signed up to this. I really don't want to be here. And it's always about, what do you want to do in the future, right? Whether someone's going, I want to be a musician. Okay, how are you going to get to Berklee School of Music? How are you going to go to Juilliard? Do you know that a lot of their top entertainers went to these schools? You know, and there are other ways in showcasing to them that you can get to your dream, but you got to know that it's still academic in the fashion, whether you're talking about Kanye or Jay-Z, or you're talking about LeBron James or Kobe, right? These people are masters of their craft because they treat it like a job. And they treat it like a job because every day I'm going there. It's not as though I'm just tying my laces up and going on the court. No, I'm working out after the game. And it's about making sure that you're working your mind. And I think it's important for our students to know that, because if they don't realize that, you know, and they don't realize their potential, how to get to their dream, then a lot of times, of course, they're going to just check out the process. And I like to tell them all the time, hey, I'm not here to tell you that the SATs are the best test. I'm here to tell you that it's this sort of evil that we're going to put down, and I'll help you after burn the book. You'll never see it again, as long as you are focused with me for these next 3 to 5 months. And you do exactly as we say, and you're committed, and you're open and honest about what you don't know, I guarantee you will take this test once and only once.
And that's a very good thing to hear, because I think the SATs, you definitely have to take that. That does set the precedence for so many different things, that it's very, very important to even get there. But before you reach that point, you said there's always a different step that you have to take with that too. So definitely love the resources. We wrapped up the second segment. We'll be back with the third segment. Jae Gardner of the Ivykey right here on Beyond Focus TV. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Lydia Patel. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. It's the third segment of our interview right here with Jae Gardner, who's the founder of the Ivykey. So much information is being given. I love the resources, and I love that it's something that started here in the city, started here in New York. You're Caribbean-based, and you're doing it big, you know, because we got to represent the island roots just a little bit. Once again, how do we get in contact with you for those parents who may be watching this and say, you know what, is this even affordable? Is this something for me?
Well, surely. And again, it's, you know, it's kind of a range. So we're in the city. We're at 32nd and Broadway. And, you know, you can get to us right there in the heart of the city in Herald Square. And we have on-site programs that we do there, as well as private tutoring. And as again, we can come to your home and do one-on-one private tutoring. Or a lot of times we have partnerships with a lot of schools. So over 100 schools here in New York, you know, whether middle schools, high schools, that we do programs at the school, and it's at a reduced cost. So again, that's the best way if you want to, if your pocket is not as wide and you're kind of financially strapped in that way. You know, we do a lot of great programs that are sometimes $299 for a course that some other organizations will charge $1,500 or $2,000 for. But for us, it's less so about, I want to break the bank. It's how do I unlock the minds of my students, because that's how you go from working with 10 kids a couple of years ago to over 2,000, because the names gets out there. People see the results. People see that after taking your course, well, I may have paid $299, but I went up 300 points. I went up 400 points, more than I ever went up with other organizations that I work with. But also on the other token, if you do have some money to spare and you want the private tutoring that we do, a little bit pricier.
Of course.
So, you know, but and that goes in sort of the range of 100, 150 an hour. You know, but again, we're coming to you and providing you not just again with tutoring, but also the mentoring. You know, for us, it's becoming the fabric of the family, and knowing that, you know, your tutor is now becoming your big brother, your big sister, that person that you can go to. Yes, when you have trouble with science, but again, you know, maybe you're thinking about your career for the future and you're not sure. You're thinking, you know, man, I want to be a doctor, man, I want to be a lawyer. You know, we like to always pair our students up sometimes just with people that we have as professionals who we know who may have some spare time to talk to these students, because it's important for them to understand, even your job, right? It's like, oh wow, we see Lydia on TV, looks so much fun, but they don't see what happens on the back end, right? And
they don't see the production and getting things ready and make this. This is the fun part, getting to sit down with you.
Right.
This is the cherry on top.
But so it's important that we make sure to elucidate that for our students, and that's really important for us. So again, if you want a great price program, you can always do it at the school, and you should probably contact your school to see if we're there, and if not, let them know and they can contact us. And we love creating more partnerships with more schools around the city, because again, for me, it's about expanding great education, democratizing it, making sure that student in the inner city who may not have the most money but has great potential can unlock that potential. And to me, there's nothing worse in this world than wasted talent. And if you see someone who's there who says, you know what, I could have gotten a 2,400 on SATs if I just could afford a program, but I don't have $2,000 for a program. But you know what, I'm pretty sure you may have $300. So you can come to our program, get a robust understanding, and know that we're here to make sure that you're reaching the next level. Great.
What are some of the schools that you're currently partnered with right now?
I mean, there's so many. There's Bell Academy. We're looking at, even here in Brooklyn. We've done work with Al Noor School, in the City School of the Future. Sometimes we'll forget Urban Assembly. So a lot of the Urban Assembly schools, a lot of college-bound initiatives, high schools as well. We've worked with, we have BOSS. I mean, the list goes on, but we have a list of schools and programs on our website, so people can always contact us to see if our program's at their school.
And is there any key messages that you really want the people at home to know about?
Just daily commitment to excellence. That's the biggest thing. That's how you move the bar. There's an old Chinese proverb is that don't be scared of not moving too fast, be scared of standing still. So it's important that as long as you're moving slowly but surely every day towards your goal, most likely you'll reach it before you even thought you would. And even in our life, and even the story of the Ivykey, if someone would have told me that I'd be sitting down with you now, 3 or 4 years ago, when we were in the attic, putting together the curriculum, going out there, giving the free tutoring, I would have said, maybe, let's hope. But again, it was this daily commitment to saying, how can I impress and impart our knowledge on our community? And hopefully, as long as we give to them, they'll give back to us. And the support has been just outstanding. And because of that, we really feel as though we're a community-based organization that's really going out there to make sure that our community is enriched, by our experience.
Was it a challenge for you to financially get this off the ground?
Yeah, I mean, it was self-financed, but luckily, the cost of just traveling was really the initial cost, because all we were doing was just writing curriculum. That just took time. And between that, buying out business partners, finding more space, I mean, every year just pushing up, it takes a lot. And it's definitely at times stressful, mentally draining. But when you see the reward from a student who has that moment, when really their mind unlocks and they go, now I get it. It's so easy. That's rewarding. When you see a student who gets to the school of their dreams and they're just so happy, and the grade that they never thought they would get, or the score they never thought they would get, it just reminds you why it's a labor of love, because you see that the community is now better, more enriched because of you, and it makes you realize you have a purpose to waking up.
What are some of the events that you have that's going to take you to the end of the year and into 2014? Any specific things we should look out for? Well,
you should. We just developed our first SAT app, and something that you can get on our website, and it will be available in the App Store and Google Play very shortly.
Good.
So students could have it responsive to all platforms, so they could use it and try out many questions for free on their phone. So again, limiting those excuses. We have a great information session that's happening in October for high school and college applications, so people can come by our center and make sure to register for that, and that's something great. And again, SAT programs and specialized high school programs that may be running at your school right now that you can access. So don't ever hesitate to give us a call.
Please give us the number.
Surely, the number is 646-355-9782. And you can visit us at www.theivykey.com.
Great. So one more time, give us the number, 646?
Surely, 646-355-9782. And again, theivykey.com.
That is amazing. Now, for those who are a little more on the social media side,
Sure.
is there a Facebook or Twitter page?
Sure, you can definitely follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We're always leaving just kind of messages for the day, going through education, always engaging the community in terms of saying, what are your thoughts on some of the changes in the policies, for instance, at the DOE, or some of the changing standards for colleges. And it's important because we want to get people more involved and engaged in that discussion, which I feel at times kind of gets lost in the new social media world and, kind of our paparazzi-driven life.
I know.
So it's important that we try to engage that, and you'll see that on Twitter. We'll leave messages on Facebook, and we always implore more people to, leave their thoughts, because for us it's kind of a dynamic thing that's always changing on a daily basis.
And before I let you go, we always
Sure.
ask everybody this who's in the hot seat here at Beyond Focus TV. What's your take on texting and driving?
Oh, don't do it. Just LOL can leave. It's fine. It can wait. It's just.
I'm on my way. OMW.
Yeah, wait till it's a red light. Wait till you're at a stop sign. It can wait. Really, I mean, it's just not that serious.
Well, that's great. We'll definitely have you back on the program. A lot of resources that are available, everybody. So do take the time to check out the website, the Ivy League. Ivykey.com, right?
Yes, the
so
Ivykey.
THEIVYKEY.com.
Yeah.
All right. You're watching Beyond Focus TV. That was my special guest for the evening, Jae Gardner, who's the founder of the Ivykey. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll love to have you back again shortly.
Surely.
All right. Keep it locked right here. You are watching Beyond Focus TV.
Beyond Focus TV show wants and needs your feedback. Did we blunder? Please let us know so we can improve. Was the show helpful to you? Drop us a note so we can share the success with our staff members. Is there something you think we could do better? We welcome new ideas and new approaches to old ideas. Do you have a great suggestion? Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you. Let us know and we'll work on it. If you would like to share your comments anonymously, please send us an email at info@beyondfocusmedia.com. If you want to get in touch with the executive producer directly, send him an email at gene@beyondfocusmedia.com. We really look forward to hearing from you.